Hello everybody, Kyle here. I'm going to review the 9th episode of House of the Dragon. It just aired last night and I loved this episode. I could say this was the best episode of the season. I was watching this episode and I was just so captivated by what was happening on screen. It had this thriller aspect, as the showrunners said in the after show, that it was very similar to like a Hitchcockian thriller. The tenseness of what was going on with the aftermath of King Viserys' death could really be felt through the realm and through the kingdom. Like, I've never quite seen this happen before when it comes to the death of a huge king or even a president. I thought it was interesting to see how the kingdom responds and how the lower servants and the handmaidens, they have to be very careful, because if word gets out that the king is dead, there will be like rioting in the streets and it will be a crazy time. And also with Alicent saying that she believes the king wants Aegon on the throne, then there is that, unsurety of whether they will be able to get Aegon on the throne. And then there's the added element in this episode that they can't find Aegon. So there are so many things that are happening, along with the fact that Otto says that basically they had been planning to have Aegon sit on the throne this whole time. And you see a little bit more of the mischievousness of Otto and what they were playing at behind King Viserys' back, and really how they weren't for Rhaenyra at all. There's this great scene where Sir Criston kills Lord Beesbury, who is the Master of Coin, and he kills this man in front of the entire Green Council, as also what the episode's called. And Sir Westerling takes out his sword ready to fight Criston, but he's like, you know what, this now is not the time for this. And when they ask Westerling to go and kill Rhaenyra, then he's like, I'm done, I can't, I only serve the king's guard and there's no king here. And he puts his white cloak down and he walks away. And I thought it was such a great moment. Westerling was a character that I really liked in the first episode, but we hadn't seen too much of him like in later episodes, and he really built up a great relationship, I thought, with Rhaenyra in the beginning, and I think it paid off to see him stand up for her, or at least stand up against those that were after her. And there's a lot of things in this episode where it felt like the culmination of what this entire season has been building up to. And you see how Aegon doesn't want the throne, but there are many reasons why. Not just that he doesn't feel fit to rule, but he also doesn't feel like even his own father wanted him to rule, which was the truth. And yet his mother is controlling, just like her father was to her, and she's telling her, you have to rule, Aegon. And then when she tells him that the father kind of mentioned that he wanted Aegon to rule, he somewhat has this glint in his eye where he's like, did he? And then when he sees how the public is responding to him being crowned the new king, he starts to relish in it. And you really are starting to see the villain of Aegon Targaryen come out. And I think that is the difference between Aegon and Joffrey, where Joffrey, his entire life, he felt like he was special, he felt like he was entitled to everything, and he felt so, happy with his life. And then he was greedy, he was selfish, yet Aegon is kind of in this position where he's in a way like an opposite of Joffrey, because he doesn't really care about the throne. He just feels like he can do what he wants, but when he's going to be crowned king, he doesn't want it. And I think that makes for a very compelling character, because now we're starting to see Aegon kind of come into his own. And you have Aemond, who he should be the rightful ruler in this situation. He is way more capable of ruling and cares more about the throne than Aegon. But I do love how we're seeing these two brothers pitted against each other, almost in a way if it was like this dark Jon and Robb, fighting. If Jon was able in Game of Thrones to sit on the throne, there could be like a banter and conflict between Jon and Robb. Because that's what I do love about this show, is there are so many parallels you can draw between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. But the best part of this episode, hands down, was when Rhaenys comes out from under the floor on her dragon, Meleys, and it's one of the most epic shots of the show as the smoke is clearing away, and you see it's Rhaenys in her armor, and she just looks at Alicent, and she looks at the Greens and just says, like, remember, I showed you mercy. And Meleys roars, and then they fly away, and it's gonna set so many more consequences up for the future of House of the Dragon. And one thing I was worried about, knowing that Rhaenyra and Daemon wouldn't be in this episode, I think that they ended up proving that they did the right thing, because now we're seeing what it's like to have Alicent and Rhaenyra separated from each other, because they are at their best when they are together and when they are working together. But when they are separated from each other, they are bitter rivals, and the realm pays for it. So yeah, I think episode 9 was an incredible episode, and I highly recommend, if you haven't watched House of the Dragon, to watch it, because it is the best show on television. The best show I've seen in the last 4 years. So let me know. What did you think of House of the Dragon? Did you love it as much as I did? Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye.